Let me ask you something brutally honest. Are you broke? Not just low on cash this week, but genuinely struggling to make the money you know you're capable of making. Living paycheck to paycheck, watching opportunities pass by because you can't afford to take them, feeling guilty every time you want to buy something nice. Now, let me ask you something even more uncomfortable. Whose fault is that? Before you get defensive, hear this. It's not about blame. It's about power. Because if your broke situation is someone else's fault, you're powerless to fix it. But if it's your responsibility, then you have all the power in the world to change it. Here's the truth that most people don't want to hear. You're not broke because of the economy, your boss, your education, your background, or bad luck. You're broke because you haven't decided to be rich. And I don't mean some weak, wouldn't it be nice kind of deciding. I mean the bone-deep, non-negotiable, I will figure this out or die trying kind of deciding. Today, we're diving into You're a Badass at Making Money by Sincero, a New York Times bestseller that rips apart every excuse, limiting belief, and victim story, keeping you poor. This book doesn't whisper gentle encouragement. It slaps you awake and demands you step into your financial power. Jen went from living in a converted garage to making millions, and she's going to show you exactly how to make that same transformation. No fluff, no theory, just raw truth about what it actually takes to get rich. Let's get started. Chapter 1. You're a financial disaster because you choose to be. The book opens with a statement that will either piss you off or wake you up. Your financial situation is a choice. Not a conscious choice, maybe, but a choice nonetheless. Every belief you hold about money, every action you take or don't take, every excuse you make, these are choices creating your reality. Most people are in what Jen calls financial victimhood. They blame their parents for not teaching them about money, their job for not paying enough, the system for being rigged, or just their bad luck. And yes, some of those things might have some truth to them. But here's what matters. Blame gives you reasons, not results. Jen shares her own story. For years, she was broke, driving a car with no rearview mirror held together by duct tape, living in a garage she rented for $200 a month. She was smart, hardworking, and talented, but totally broke. Why? Because she had made an unconscious decision that money was hard to make, that rich people were different from her, and that she wasn't the kind of person who could be wealthy. Then something shifted. She looked at her life and realized she was a badass at other things. She'd traveled the world, written books, built relationships. She was capable and resourceful. So why was she broke? Because she was choosing to be broke through her thoughts, beliefs, and actions. Here's the uncomfortable truth. You're probably really good at making excuses for why you can't make money. You can list 10 reasons why it's hard, why it won't work for you, why now isn't the right time. And as long as you're committed to those stories, you'll be right. Your brain will make sure of it. The book challenges you to get brutally honest. Stop for a moment and finish this sentence. I can't make the money I want because, whatever you just said, that's your money story. That's the belief system keeping you broke. And it's all bullshit. Jen doesn't say this to be mean. She says it because it's liberating. If your broke situation is a choice, then being rich is also a choice. You just have to choose differently and back that choice up with action. The moment you stop being a victim of your circumstances and start being the creator of them, everything changes. The first step to becoming a badass at making money is taking full responsibility for where you are right now. Not blame, responsibility. Responsibility means you have the power to change it. Chapter 2. Your relationship with money is broken. Let's talk about something weird. You have a relationship with money, just like you have relationships with people. You have a relationship with money. And for most people, that relationship is completely dysfunctional. Think about it. How do you feel when you think about money? Anxious, guilty, stressed, resentful, scared. Those are the exact same feelings you'd have in a toxic relationship. You want money, but you also resent it. You need it, but you're scared of it. You chase it, but push it away. It's a mess. Jen breaks down the most common dysfunctional money relationships. First, there's the money is evil relationship. You've been taught that money corrupts people, that wealth is somehow immoral, that wanting money makes you greedy. So unconsciously, you sabotage yourself because deep down you believe being rich would make you a bad person. Then there's the I'm not worthy relationship. You don't believe you deserve to be wealthy. Maybe you think you haven't worked hard enough, aren't smart enough, or don't have the right credentials. So even when opportunities come, you don't take them because you don't feel worthy of the reward. There's also the money is scarce relationship. You believe there's not enough to go around, that if someone else has money, it means less for you, that you have to hoard and protect every penny. This creates a desperate, clingy energy that actually repels money instead of attracting it. And finally, there's the money is hard relationship. You believe making money requires struggle, sacrifice, and suffering. You can't imagine getting wealthy without working yourself to death or compromising your values. So you unconsciously avoid wealth to avoid the suffering you think comes with it. Here's what Jen wants you to understand. All of these beliefs are learned, not true. You pick them up from your parents, society, media, and past experiences, but just because you learned them doesn't mean you have to keep them. To heal your relationship with money, you need to start treating money like you'd treat someone you want to have a great relationship with. Show appreciation for the money you have instead of complaining about what you don't have. Respect money by managing it well. Be excited when it comes instead of guilty. Trust that more is always available instead of hoarding in fear. The book includes a powerful exercise. Write a letter to money. Tell it how you really feel. Apologize for how you've treated it. Express your desire for a better relationship. This sounds weird, but it works because it brings your unconscious beliefs into conscious awareness where you can change them. Money is just energy. It flows where it's welcomed and appreciated. Start welcoming it. Chapter 3. Get rich or die trying. The power of commitment. Here's where most people fail. They want to be rich, but they're not committed to being rich. There's a massive difference between wanting and committing, and that difference determines everything. Wanting is passive. I want to make more money. That would be nice. I hope it happens. Commitment is active. I will make more money. I will figure it out. Failure is not an option. Jen explains that the universe responds to commitment, not to wishes. When you're truly committed, you take different actions. You persist through obstacles. You find solutions instead of excuses. Your energy shifts, and that energy attracts opportunities, resources, and people who can help you. Think about something you've accomplished in your life that you're proud of. A degree, a relationship, a skill, a goal. Did you achieve that by casually wanting it? No. You committed to it. You prioritized it. You did whatever it took, even when it was hard, even when you didn't feel like it. Making money is the same. You need that level of commitment. Not, I'll try and see what happens. Not, I'll work on it when I have time. But I am absolutely making this happen, period. The book challenges you to make a specific commitment. Decide exactly how much money you want to make. Not a vague, more than I'm making now. An exact number. Write it down. Say it out loud. Feel how uncomfortable that is. Good. That discomfort is your old beliefs freaking out because you're about to outgrow them. Then commit to that number like your life depends on it. Because in a way, it does. Your dream life, your freedom, your ability to help others, your peace of mind, all of that depends on you making this happen. But here's the key. Jen emphasizes, commitment without action is just fantasy. You can't just decide to be rich and then sit on your couch waiting for money to appear. Commitment means taking massive, consistent action toward your goal, even when you're scared, even when you don't know exactly how it will work out. The universe rewards bold moves. When you commit fully and take action, opportunities appear that weren't there before. Doors open, people show up, resources materialize. But none of that happens when you're half in, keeping one foot out the door, just in case it doesn't work. Jen shares story after story of people who committed to a specific financial goal, had no idea how they'd achieve it, but decided they would anyway. And within months, the path revealed itself, not through magic, but through focused attention, persistence, and willingness to take uncomfortable action. So right now, make the commitment. Decide what you're making. Decide you're going to figure it out no matter what. Then, watch how your reality starts shifting to match your decision. Chapter 4. Loving Money Makes You Rich. This might be the most controversial idea in the book. You need to love money. Not in a greedy, obsessive way, but in a genuine appreciation and respect kind of way. And most people can't do this because they've been taught that loving money is wrong. Jen destroys this belief beautifully. Money is a tool. It's energy. It's a means of exchange that allows you to live the life you want, help people you care about, and create positive impact in the world. There is absolutely nothing wrong with loving something that gives you freedom, security, and the ability to be generous. Think about it this way. If you hated your spouse but expected them to stick around and make your life better, how would that work? It wouldn't. The same is true with money. If you resent money, feel guilty about wanting it, or believe it's somehow bad, money will avoid you. Why would money flow to someone who despises it? The book explains that your feelings about money create your financial reality. If you feel anxiety around money, you'll create situations that give you more anxiety. If you feel scarcity around money, you'll experience more scarcity. But if you feel love, appreciation, and excitement around money, you'll attract more of it. So, how do you develop love for money? Start by appreciating what money allows you to do. Every time you use money, buying groceries, paying rent, getting coffee, feel genuine gratitude for the exchange. The money left your hand, and you received value. That's beautiful. Money facilitated that. When money comes to you, your paycheck, a refund, a gift. Get excited. Seriously. Do a little celebration. Thank the money for coming. This isn't woo-woo nonsense. This is training your brain to associate money with positive emotions, which creates a positive feedback loop. Jen also talks about the importance of treating money well. Don't crumple up bills and throw them in your bag. Don't let your wallet be a disaster. Don't ignore your bank account because it's depressing. Would you treat someone you love that way? No. So organize your money, keep track of it, pay attention to it. Another powerful practice: bless your bills when you pay them. Instead of resenting the electricity bill, appreciate that you have electricity. Instead of hating your rent payment, appreciate that you have a home. This shifts your energy from resentment to gratitude, from scarcity to abundance. The book shares an amazing perspective. Every bill is proof that someone trusted you with their service or product before you paid them. That's a compliment. That's abundance. You're living in a world where you can receive things now and pay later. That's trust and flow, not burden. When you genuinely love money, treat it with respect, and appreciate what it does for you, you become a magnet for it. Money flows to where it's celebrated, not tolerated. Chapter 5. Make your desires your reality. Most people spend more time thinking about what they don't want than what they do want. They focus on bills, on not having enough, on fear of going broke, and then they wonder why they stay broke. Your focus creates your reality. Where attention goes, energy flows. Jen teaches that if you want to be rich, you need to focus on being rich. Not in a fantasy, wouldn't that be nice way, but in a visceral, emotional, all-in way. You need to feel wealthy before you are wealthy. You need to think like a rich person before you have the money. This is where visualization comes in, but not the weak version most people do. Jen teaches high-octane visualization. You don't just picture yourself with money. You create a detailed, sensory-rich movie in your mind of your wealthy life, and you feel it as if it's happening right now. See yourself checking your bank account and seeing the number you want. Feel the relief, the excitement, the pride. See yourself making the purchase you've been putting off. Feel the freedom of not having to check the price tag. See yourself being generous with people you love. Feel the joy of being able to help. Do this every single day, not for 5 seconds while you're distracted. Spend at least 5 focused minutes living in that wealthy reality in your mind. Your brain doesn't know the difference between a real experience and a vividly imagined one. The more you experience wealth in your mind, the more your brain accepts it as normal and starts creating it in reality. But here's the part that most people skip. You also need to take action as if you're already that person. Jen calls this acting as if. How would the wealthy version of you make decisions? How would they spend their time? How would they carry themselves? Start being that person now. This doesn't mean fake it till you make it in a superficial way. It means genuinely embodying the mindset, confidence, and decision-making of someone who has the wealth you desire. That person doesn't procrastinate. That person invests in themselves. That person takes calculated risks. That person believes opportunities are everywhere. The book shares story after story of people who started acting as if they were already successful, and success showed up to match their energy, not because of magic, but because their actions, decisions, and presence shifted to align with success. One critical point Jen makes: Get clear on your why. Why do you want to be rich? Not surface-level reasons like to pay bills or to be comfortable. Deep reasons to have freedom, to help your family, to prove something to yourself, to create impact, to live adventurously. Your why is your fuel. When you know why you're doing this, when it's connected to something deeper than just having stuff, you'll find the motivation to push through every obstacle. Your why makes your commitment unshakable. Write your why down. Read it every morning. Connect to the emotion of it. Let it drive you forward, even when the path gets hard. Chapter 6. Take bold action that scares you. Here's where the rubber meets the road. You can have the perfect mindset, the clearest vision, and the strongest commitment. But if you're not taking action, nothing changes. And not just any action. Bold action. Action that makes you uncomfortable. Action that your fear voice screams at you not to take. Jen is crystal clear about this. Staying in your comfort zone keeps you broke. Everything you want is outside your comfort zone. The opportunities, the growth, the money. It's all waiting for you on the other side of fear. Think about your current situation. You got here by making safe choices, playing small, and avoiding risk. If you keep making those same choices, you'll keep getting those same results. If you want different results, you need to make different choices. Choices that scare you. The book breaks down what bold action looks like. It's reaching out to that person you're intimidated to contact. It's pitching your services at a higher rate than you've ever charged. It's investing money into your business even though you're scared. It's quitting the safe job that's keeping you small. It's launching the product even though it's not perfect. Your brain is wired to protect you, which means it's wired to keep you safe, which means it's wired to keep you exactly where you are. Every time you consider doing something bold, your fear voice will pipe up with 100 reasons why you shouldn't. What if you fail? What if people judge you? What if you lose money? What if you're not ready? Jen's response to that fear voice: tell it to shut up and do the thing anyway. Fear is not a stop sign. It's a compass pointing toward growth. Everything worth doing comes with fear attached. The question isn't how to eliminate fear. The question is how to take action despite fear. Here's a powerful reframe. Your fear means you care. If you didn't care about success, about making money, about creating the life you want, you wouldn't feel fear. The fear is actually evidence that you're going after something meaningful. Embrace it as a sign you're on the right path. The book emphasizes successful people feel the same fear as everyone else. They just don't let it make their decisions for them. They feel the fear and act anyway. Over time, taking bold action becomes easier because you build evidence that you can handle it, that you can survive failure, that you're more capable than your fear voice believes. Jen shares her own terror moments, like investing her last $85,000 into a business coach when she was already in debt, or quitting her job with no backup plan, or raising her rates knowing some clients would leave. Every single time, her fear voice said she was making a huge mistake, and every single time that bold action led to her next level of success. Start now. What's one bold action you've been avoiding because it scares you? Do it this week, not next month when you feel ready. This week. You'll never feel completely ready. Do it scared. Chapter 7. Your bank account is a reflection of your self-worth. This chapter hits hard because it's true. You will never make more money than you believe you're worth. Your income is a direct reflection of your self-worth. If you don't value yourself, if you don't believe you deserve wealth, you'll unconsciously sabotage every opportunity to make more. Jen explains that most people have a subconscious financial ceiling, an amount of money they believe they're worth having. When they get close to that ceiling, they do something to bring themselves back down. They make a bad investment. They overspend. They turn down an opportunity. They play small, not consciously, but unconsciously. This is why some people can't seem to break past a certain income level, no matter how hard they work. They hit their worth ceiling. The only way to break through is to raise your sense of worth, to decide you deserve more, to genuinely believe you're valuable enough to receive wealth. So, how do you raise your self-worth? First, stop comparing yourself to others. Your worth isn't relative. It's not dependent on being better than someone else or having more than someone else. You're valuable simply because you exist, because you have gifts to offer, because you can create value in the world. Second, celebrate yourself. Most people are their own worst critics. They dismiss their wins, focus on their failures, and talk to themselves in ways they'd never talk to a friend. Start acknowledging yourself. Write down your wins. Celebrate your progress. Speak to yourself with kindness and respect. Third, take care of yourself. Your self-worth is reflected in how you treat yourself. Are you getting enough sleep? Eating well? Moving your body? Taking time for things you enjoy? Or are you running yourself into the ground and treating yourself like you don't matter? How you treat yourself teaches the universe how to treat you. Fourth, invest in yourself. This is huge. When you invest money in your growth, your education, your health, or your business, you're making a powerful statement. I'm worth investing in. This signals to your subconscious and the universe that you value yourself, which raises your worth set point. Jen shares that one of the biggest turning points in her financial journey was hiring an expensive coach she couldn't afford. That act of investing in herself, even though it terrified her, communicated to her brain that she was valuable, that her success mattered, that she was worth the investment. Her income skyrocketed shortly after because her self-worth had risen. The book also addresses imposter syndrome, that feeling that you're not really qualified, that you're faking it, that someone's going to find out you're not as good as you seem. Here's the truth. Everyone feels like an imposter sometimes. The difference is successful people don't let that feeling stop them. They acknowledge it and move forward anyway. Your worth isn't determined by your credentials, your background, your past mistakes, or anyone else's opinion. Your worth is inherent. You get to decide you're valuable. You get to decide you deserve wealth. And the moment you truly believe that, your financial reality will shift to match. Become the badass you already are. Let's bring this home. You are a badass at making money isn't just a book title. It's a declaration of truth. You are a badass. You're just not owning it yet when it comes to money. You've learned that your financial situation is a choice, not a life sentence. You're broke or struggling because you've been choosing beliefs, thoughts, and actions that keep you there. But you can choose differently starting right now. You've discovered that your relationship with money is probably dysfunctional, but it can be healed through appreciation, respect, and love. Money is energy, and it flows to where it's welcomed and celebrated. You've seen that commitment is everything, Not wanting, not wishing, but bone-deep commitment, backed by massive action. The universe responds to certainty, not to hope. You've learned to love money, to focus on your desires instead of your fears, and to take bold action that scares you. You've understood that your bank account reflects your self-worth, and raising your worth is the key to raising your income. But here's what matters most. Information without implementation is useless. You can know every principle in this book, agree with every word, and still stay broke if you don't act. So, here's your challenge. Right now, before you move on to the next video or task, make 3 decisions. First, decide exactly how much money you're committed to making. Write down a specific number and a deadline. This is your financial target, and it's non-negotiable. Second, identify your biggest money block, the belief or fear that's been keeping you small. Write it down. Then write the opposite truth. Read that truth out loud every morning for the next 30 days. Third, identify one bold action you've been avoiding because it scares you. Something that would move you significantly closer to your financial goal. Commit to taking that action within the next 72 hours, not next week. Not when you feel ready, within 72 hours. Remember what Jen says throughout this book. You're not broke because you're incapable. You're broke because you're playing small. You're living in fear. You're holding on to beliefs that don't serve you. But you're also capable of changing all of that in an instant. The wealthy, successful, badass version of you already exists. They're not someone you need to become. They're who you already are, underneath all the limiting beliefs and fear. Your job isn't to create that person. Your job is to stop being the smaller version and let that badass emerge. You don't need permission. You don't need perfect circumstances. You don't need to wait until you're ready. You just need to decide that you're done playing small and start taking the actions that match the wealth you desire. Your future wealthy self is waiting. They're living the life you dream about, making the money you want to make, and being generous and free and fulfilled. The only question is, how long are you going to make them wait? Stop waiting. Stop making excuses. Stop playing small. Be the badass at making money that you already are. Now go make it happen.